Hey everyone, welcome to your practice, your restorative practice. Today we're going to start out seated. And when I say seated, I mean you get comfortable in your seat. You don't have to sit like I'm sitting. You don't have to sit in any particular yogic-like seat. What's more important to me is that you can sit tall with relative ease in your spine. So for some of you, you've probably heard me say this a million times. I'm going to continue to remind you. You can sit in a chair, you can sit on a stool, you can prop yourself up on blocks or books or pillows or blankets, whatever you have at home, but truly prioritizing your comfort in your seat is way more important than what it looks like. Being mindful of things like hips and knees and ankles, not forcing anything is so much more important. As we think about why do we come to this practice? What are we looking to get out of this practice? What is the purpose of having a yoga practice? These are all questions that you have to answer for yourself. When I think about my commitment to my practice, why I teach, why this is something that I love to share with the community and anyone who shows up to a class, is because it's helped me so much and it helps me feel grounded and safe in my body. And it's something that I think everyone should get to experience as a sovereign being in their own right. So there isn't one right way to look in a yoga practice. If we could set that off to the side and pay more attention to our own experience and how we feel, I think we'd be more likely to come back to this practice daily and remember our intention behind why we started in the first place. I was thinking about this today because I was reminded of one of the sutras, and the Yoga Sutras are, sutra means thread. It's a Sanskrit word that means thread. And this particular set of sutras are like sayings. You could think of it like a roadmap for how to live your best life that you could flip the book open to and see, okay, what do I really, what do I want to find inspiration from today? And this one was inspiring me. And it is Sutra 1.14, and it is in English, I'll tell you. Practice becomes firmly grounded when well attended to for a long time, without break and in all earnestness. So again, practice becomes firmly grounded when well attended to for a long time, without break and in all earnestness. So this is just the call to return to your practice again and again. Let it look like what it looks like for you, but remember your why and commit to that intention. So maybe that's helpful to kind of guide yourself into stillness as we sit up nice and tall, maybe close the eyes, resting the hands somewhere comfortable. Palms could be facing down for more grounding. Palms could be facing up for an intention to receive. Start to feel yourself settle here. You might shift the shoulders back and forward a few times, maybe side to side. And just see if you can start to find what feels like center. Notice how the neck feels, the head. You can think about the physiological alignment of the spine, ears on top of the shoulders, shoulders on top of the hips, length in between each vertebrae, and a relative ease in the effort. This is the idea of sthira sukha, ease and effort, that both need to be present. One is not more important than the other. Both are valuable equally. Starting to bring your awareness to your breath here as you sit up nice and tall, finding that place of stillness. You might begin to lengthen the inhale and the exhale. Softening the elbows alongside your body, relaxing the shoulders down your back. A little bit, press the back of your head to the space behind you without lifting your chin. Notice what it feels like to breathe. Can you breathe in and out through your nose? What does that feel like? Let's take 3 more breaths here, just setting an intention for your practice. Maybe utilizing Sutra 1.14 as just recommitting to a practice for the sake of practice. What is the intention behind it? And then on your next exhalation, draw the chin into the chest. Breathe in to the back of the neck, back of the shoulders. Start to rotate right ear to right shoulder. Rotate chin up towards the ceiling, open the throat. Left ear, left shoulder. Chin back to the chest. Continue drawing a circle with your chin, with your head. Take it nice and slow. Feel free to pause anywhere along the way. Next time the chin comes back to the chest, pause there. And then moving left ear to left shoulder. Chin up towards the ceiling, open the throat. Right ear, right shoulder. Chin back to the chest, so we're just changing direction with the circle. If you went a different direction the first time around, no big deal, just change the direction. Start to find that rhythm and pace on your own, what feels good in your neck, what feels good in your body. One more time, all the way around. Closing out that last circle, lifting the chin up until it's about parallel with the floor. Deep breath in, reach both the arms up and overhead. And then on your breath out, right fingertips to the floor beside you. Left arm reaching overhead, bicep alongside the ear. And then on the exhale, we'll pull that top elbow behind us. You might even look behind that shoulder. It's kind of like you're doing a half backstroke seated. And then inhale, extend the arm, that top arm alongside the ear. And then exhale, pull the elbow back behind you. And just do that a few times. See if you can stay firmly rooted through both sits bones. One more time, reach that top arm up and overhead. And then use that top hand to reach back up through center. Let your bottom hand follow. We're going to just switch sides. So now that left hand's rooted, the right arm's reaching overhead alongside the bicep alongside the ear rather. And then exhale, pull that elbow back behind you. Maybe you look over your shoulder if that feels good on the neck. If it doesn't feel good on the neck, don't worry about it. And then just start to swim the arm back and forth a couple of times. Stay grounded through both of your sits bones. Stay grounded through your seat. One more time, reach that top arm up and overhead. And then use that top arm to pull yourself back up through center. We're just going to take one more little seated movement and then we'll get into our still shapes. So we're going to rotate towards your right hip, left hand to the outer front thigh, and then right fingertips behind you like a little kickstand. Here in this rotation, I want you to think again about the length of the spine first, broadening across the collarbone, lifting up through the center of your chest, lifting up through the top of your head. Worry less about how far you get in your rotation. Notice how this feels in the spine. Can you feel space in between the vertebrae? Let's take one more breath here. And then we're just going to move the head back towards that left shoulder. Okay, and then the right arm's going to follow and it's going to cross in front of that opposite elbow. So now you're just crossing the elbows in front of your chest. Opposite hands to opposite thighs, round the chin in. Press the spine into the space behind you. Breathe into the back body. Inhale, unwind the arms, breathe in, reach up. And then exhale, we're going to rotate to that left hip now. So left fingertips might come behind you like a little kickstand. Keep that chest nice and broad, lifting up through the center of the chest, up through the top of the head. Nice fluid, deep breaths here. You find that length through the spine. Okay, so the only thing that's going to move is the head. The head's going to come back through center, kind of looking towards that right shoulder. And then the left arm will follow. It'll cross in front of the opposite elbow, grabbing for the opposite thigh, round the chin in towards the chest. Press the spine to the space behind you. Deep breath into the back. One more time, inhale, unwind the arms, reach up. And then exhale, relax the arms. We're going to come off of our seat and onto our back. I'm going to give you the option to add some props here. We're going to be in a supine twist, so we'll be on our back in this twist. One prop that I always love to utilize when I'm coming into a twist is a blanket underneath the back of my head. So you can use a blanket, you could use a fairly shallow pillow, especially if you tend to be pretty tight in the hips. You do want to pad the back of the head, or at least I would recommend that. You don't have to, it's not a requirement. But when we're twisting and we're laying down, at least the intention for today, shoulder blades remain on the back, on the mat, right? And the chest remains broad. And the space between the vertebrae is what we're targeting rather than the depth of the twist. One other prop here as you lay down, maybe you take a stack of pillows, couch cushions, set that off towards your left hip and left knee and ankle. We're going to just start off by hugging the right knee into the chest. If you like, you can extend that left leg out long. And just take a moment here, hugging the right knee into the chest, squeezing it towards that right armpit. And then you can start to draw circles with that right knee. Just kind of assessing right hip in the socket. How does that feel? Where does it feel fluid? Where does it feel maybe stuck? Or where is there sound happening, if there is sound happening? A few deep breaths here. And let's start to interlace the hands behind the right thigh. Press the right foot up towards the ceiling. Make a little stirrup with your hands. Let that right knee shift forward over the hip. Right, so you're trying to stack the knee on top of the hip and then bend the knee and then straighten out through the leg. So letting that right thigh be heavy in the stirrup of your hands as you bend and straighten the right leg. couple more times. And then just hug that right knee back into the chest one more time. Give it a squeeze. We're going to keep a hold of the right knee with the left hand. Pull that knee across the body towards your left where your props are waiting for you. And then you might hook the right ankle, right knee over top of your props there as you stretch your right arm off to the right side. And then can you get your left shoulder blade moving away from the spine? So I'll kind of like inch it away from the spine. See if I can get some space between shoulder blades and spine so that my chest can really spread wide open towards the ceiling. And then I might even look over towards my right hand, if that feels okay on the neck. We're going to take 3 minutes here to soften in, to find stillness, to breathe into the belly, to close the eyes. As you settle into this shape and you're finding the right level of support underneath the inner right knee and ankle, just remember that you can always add more props, especially if you're really efforting to get your knee and ankle supported on top of something. There's a lot of space in between that knee and the floor. Rather than pulling the torso with you, add more propping underneath that inner right leg. So bring the floor up to meet your leg so that you can keep the chest broad, shoulder blades relaxed, deep belly breaths. Notice your breathing. Can you continue to breathe in and out through the nose? Keep the jaw relaxed. Maybe there's a slight part to the lips, that's okay. But see if you can keep the breath coming in and out through the nose. And this is something, this nasal breathing, if there's one thing that you could take away from your physical yoga practice into your daily life, one physiological thing that I could give you to take away as a tool, it would be that. It would be to remember or remind yourself as many times as it takes to continue to breathe in and out through your nose, especially if you're, doing something like sitting at your desk and working, driving a car, sitting in a meeting, something where you're not exerting yourself a lot, right? So there is a time for mouth breathing during different styles of exercises, but for the majority of our yoga practice and for stillness, can you practice nasal breathing? Let's take one more breath here in our twist. Nice and slow, start to unwind. We are going to pause in between sides, so I want you to find something neutral. You can bend your knees and plant your feet on your mat. You can stretch your legs out long and just rest in like a little mini shavasana shape. But do find stillness. We're going to take 1 minute here. If you're using any props in your twist, start to move them towards that right hip, towards the knee and the ankle. So the lower half of the body gets the support of that prop. And we'll first start off by just checking out that left hip socket. So hug that left knee in towards your belly. You can interlace your hands around the top of the shin or the back of the thigh. Squeeze a little bit, pull the knee towards the armpit. And then start to draw some circles with that left knee. And then notice how this hip feels in its socket. Where does it feel fluid? Does it feel like it gets stuck anywhere? Does it make any sound? Let's take the hands, interlace them around the back of that left thigh, and let that left thigh be heavy, so the knee is trying to stack on top of the hip. Left foot presses up towards the ceiling, so it's like you're making a stirrup with that hand. With the hands, arms are straight. And then just a few times here, bend and straighten that left leg. The reason we're doing this little prep work before we come into our stillness is to increase blood flow to the tissue and the joints. So we're kind of like warming up this area, and especially if you get tight here, and twists tend to be hard or challenging, we're just preparing the body a little bit more intelligently to come into that hold. Begin to hug that left knee back into the chest. Keep a hold of it with your right hand. Extend your left arm off to the left side, pulling the left knee towards your props, towards the right side. And then broaden across the chest. So inch that right shoulder blade away from the spine so that the back body stays, the upper back body stays on the mat. And then adding any props underneath the inner left knee and ankle, any height, and it might be a different height, it might be a different set of props that you need on this side. That's okay. Give your body what it needs. Start to settle in here. I'm going to take 3 minutes on this side. Can you find stillness here? Can you let your body be heavy here? And you let your jaw relax and continue to come back to breathing through the nose, in and out through the nose. Take one more deep breath here. Take your time, start to unwind nice and slow. As you come onto your back, you're going to set up for a Shavasana. So we're just going to head right into that neutral spine position. If your Shavasana wants any support, any other props, legs up the wall or whatever, something underneath the backs of the knees, some weight on the belly like a folded blanket or a heavy pillow, or maybe even just resting the hands there. Now start to settle in. Relax your shoulders down your back, slightly tilt your chin towards your chest. Deep breath in through the nose. And exhaling through the mouth. Just as a reminder to relax the jaw, relax any tension there, let it go. And then start to just breathe naturally on your own. Shavasana. Begin to deepen your breath, awareness back to your body, back to this particular space and time. Feel free to stay longer in Shavasana if you're ready to move on, awakening through fingertips and toes. Maybe move the head side to side a few times. And then when you're ready for more, you could stretch your arms up and overhead. Rolling off to a side, pressing up to a final comfortable seat. And we'll just take a few moments to close out our practice here. So as you sit, can you find that alignment of your spine? Where is the ease within the effort? Can you stack the shoulders on top of the hips, the ears on top of the shoulders? Breathing in, growing tall. Breathing out, settling into your seat. As a reminder to continue to come back to your practice. Sutra 1.14, practice becoming firmly grounded when well attended to for a long time, without break, and in all earnestness. So you could let that serve as an intention to set for yourself, not in a dogmatic way, in a gentle way. And a reminder to ask yourself why you show up for this practice, what you're hoping to gain from it, and how you feel when you've completed a practice. Joining the hands together at your heart, if you like, bow the chin into your chest with reverence and gratitude for this practice. To all of our teachers, past, present, future, but most importantly, to the teacher within your own heart. Namaste, yogis. All right, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your practice. And I hope you come back again soon. In the meantime, take care of yourselves.